Hi everyone, and welcome to How Good's Footy in Asia, AFL Asia's official podcast. I'm your co-host Matty Gale from Osaka, Japan, and joining me over in Vietnam, Saigon, in fact, is Billy Bang Bang Crane. We'll get over to you shortly, Bill. But today's special guest for episode 20 of our podcast and third for this year. Let's just go into a bit of background story. He started his football journey, his life, most of his life has been over abroad, and then he's spent some time back in Thailand, but lived in Taiwan, lived in Singapore, played for the Singapore Sharks, has co-captained the domestic team in Thailand, the Reds, and co-captained them as well as captain them. He's been an AFL Asia Lions representative. He's got all Asian honours. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He's only 19. Tyler York, otherwise known as Man Boy. Welcome to AFL Asia's official podcast, and hope you're going well, mate. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Doing well. Yourself?
Great. Yeah, going well. We're just talking about the coronavirus situation around the grounds at the moment. Tokyo lifted their state of emergency over here on Sunday. So that's permitted that the football games can go ahead and trainings and whatnot. So we're pretty happy that that situation's come about. We joked off there that the Thailand's famous Yoda was talking about a beer ban earlier in January in Thailand, but things have gotten back on track, Tyler, with the coronavirus in Thailand?
Things back on track. All bars are open. Everyone's happy.
That's good. It's we imagine the nightlife in Bangkok would have been pretty quiet when Corona was about, which has a lot to do with the tourism over there. Bill, I'm going to give you the opening ball. You've got the Red Rock. Fire away, old son.
Thanks, Matty. So, Tyler, could you tell us a little bit about your family?
Family. All right. So Dad, also known as Yorkie amongst the Tigers. He actually is the one that got us into footy.
Yep.
So when
It's not only us that have got the.
Yeah, you never know, do you? Oh,
he's winding.
Hopefully it's just a refresh. Here we go. Here we go.
That's almost a diamond duck, Bill.
Me?
You right?
Sorry, mate. We lost you for a minute there. Can you hear us now? Wow.
We've got some issues.
Anybody watching online now, just bear with us because we did speak for 10 minutes before we went live and the connection was fine. So let's hope that it just pulls itself together.
Tyler, do you have us, mate?
Hello.
Oh, it's touch and go.
Have we got you, Tyler? Hope the old man's paid the Wi-Fi bill for the month. Have we got you? When he does freeze next time, I want to get a bit of side on of that mullet he's repping at the moment. It's solid.
If you can't hear us, just turn side on, Tyler. It'll give us a good 1 minute looking at it.
We'll play it for another minute, Bill. And I need to shut up shop and send another link through.
All right, we're back.
Okay. That's looking better.
Great. So where did I leave off?
Yeah, seems a lot better. Turn it off, turn it on again. We just had in the comments, as always. So let's fingers crossed, push ahead. Can you go right back to the start there? You were just saying, you were just starting on your old man before we cut out. So go through it all again.
So when we were living in Singapore, we were looking for something to do on the weekends. In the school I was at, Australian International School, they run a footy club on the weekends on Saturday. Yep. So we thought might as well just go over and try it out. And my two younger brothers and I ended up loving it. So we just started to play. And then after that, we moved to Thailand, and we were so hooked on footy. We just loved the game, and we were looking for AFL in Thailand, and we saw the Thailand Tigers and the Thailand Auskick. So we gave them a ring, and went out, tried it, loved it. Xavier, Phoenix, and I, my younger brothers, were we were doing Auskick, and at that time we were getting a lot of numbers for Auskick. Must have been like 20, 30 kids.
Yep.
Unfortunately, though, that died over the years. Kids turn into teenagers, and then they've got things to do on the weekends.
Yep.
So then I started playing with the Thailand Tigers. I started playing with them about 13.
Yep.
And my first ever game with them was the Indochina Cup in Myanmar.
Yeah.
And I played that when I was 13. And so we're a big family. We've got 5 people in the house. We're very active, and we just love playing sport. We love footy.
Fair enough. So your mum is Thai, right?
Mom's Thai, dad's Australian.
Yep. Did mum and dad meet in Thailand or in Australia?
They met in Thailand. Yeah.
Okay. So I know you touched on it just quickly then. Can you give us the actual timeline, the 3 countries that you've lived in, Taiwan, Singapore, and Thailand?
So I was born in Thailand, and I lived here for 4 years. Then we moved to Taiwan.
Yep.
Lived there for 6 years, and then to Singapore for 1 year, and then we're back here in Thailand.
Beautiful.
Just on that, Tyler, it's quite remarkable that you've lived in 3 countries. Bill and I have only had 2 at this stage. Yep. Just let us know, what did you like about, from your memories, of course, what did you like and what didn't you like about Taiwan, Singapore, and Thailand?
Well, I love different things about each country. Taiwan was mostly like the environment. It's very mountainous regions.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. In Singapore, it's like a crazy city. So much is happening.
Yeah.
And the same with Thailand. Thailand is so, compact. There's so much things going around.
Yeah. I went to Taiwan about a month and a half before the Asian Champs in 2016. For anyone that lives in Asia who wants to go to Asia, Taiwan is probably the most underrated country in Asia. It's probably my favourite country. As you said, beautiful mountainous terrains. If you like the great outdoors, beautiful waterfalls, hot springs. It's got a lot of culture. It's China's little brother that gets neglected from time to time. But the night markets are fantastic, and the food is sensational. So I can't rate it high enough. And I went there for 3 days, given I only get 12 days off a year, Bill. And 3 days, and it was set out to the minute. I was pretty anal on the itinerary side of it. So if anyone's keen on checking out Taiwan, definitely get amongst it. And AFL Asia Advisory Board member.
That's
Great
right.
Rocket. Yeah, lives over there. So I'm sure Rocket will
Look him up.
Maybe live or a bit later on, Rod White. But what about the food? Did you get into the food? And how can you stomach a decent green curry, Thai curry? Hey, you going all right with that?
Yeah, actually, I love chili. Actually, I put chili in most of my foods. I don't know, it just makes it so much more exciting. And Thailand has wonderful food. You go out on the street and buy delicious meal for $1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean the chili's a given. That's your Thai blood every day of the week. Now, being half Australian, how much connection have you had with Australia? Have you been back many times? And you mentioned, coming across footy. Do you feel like that connects you to that side of your heritage as well?
Yeah. I've only visited Australia. I've never lived there.
Yep.
But there was one time, maybe two summers ago, or winter there. Went down there, stayed with my nan, and we played for the local footy team there.
Yep.
And I managed to play in an under-19 Newcastle City Blues.
Wow.
And yeah, that was great. I loved it. Yeah, I felt accepted by everyone straight away, and it was just some really good times.
I imagine that was winter. How was it to play footy in it's only Newcastle, but in a semi-normal climate as opposed to 36 degrees and 90% humidity?
I loved it so much. I felt like I could breathe.
You can run, right? Yeah.
Yeah, run. The air isn't so dry. The air isn't so humid. So, yeah, and you can cool off. The sweat, actually comes off you. You go out, it's blazing.
Mm.
Tyler, Bill touched briefly on having a Thai mother and an Australian father. And I guess Bill's future kids. Come on, Bill. Hurry up there.
Sound like my mother-in-law.
But my two Japanese sons, they have the advantage. I guess there's a lot more advantages in Japan where the standard of living can be a bit better compared to some of the local Thai lads, I guess. What's been some of the advantages of and some of the challenges as well that you may have faced having an Australian father and a Thai mother?
Okay, so the challenges, I wouldn't say there are much challenges actually. I understand that there's a cultural difference between them. Sometimes we're taught one thing by dad, and then it's a completely different thing with mum. But no, not many challenges, and of course, yeah, there are advantages for me, such as international schools.
Mm.
Here in Thailand, it's mostly international schools. Really, all the public schools are Thai schools. And with international schools, you have that all cultural diversity. Yeah, so you get to see aspects of different countries, and it leaves you, I guess, open-minded. You're not like stuck in your own little world.
Just further to that, how do you go with Thai traditions and cultural sensitivity type stuff? Like, I know you're in an international school, but do you really embrace yourself in Thai culture and history? Do you get along with that sort of thing as well?
Not as much, actually. I should more. I only do it a couple times a year. Say like on like the Buddhist holidays. Sometimes I have gone to the temple to pray to the monks and all that. But no, I don't really get in touch with my Thai side.
Yeah. What about Thai language? How do you go with the local lingo?
I just know enough to get around.
Wow.
I'm not fluent. I know how to order food off a menu and tell the taxi where to take me. That's pretty much it.
Can you read any Thai?
No, not at all.
Wow.
Not at all.
Sounds about like my Japanese level
I
Thai.
was about to say, add in being able to function in a bar, and that's my Vietnamese to a T.
Google Translate comes in pretty handy as well, just quietly.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along to some of the footy now. But before we do, you're a young man. You come across as very, very mature, age of 19. And I know, speaking to you previously off air, you've got some pretty grand plans ahead of you as far as tertiary education. So let's just go through some of those plans that you have in mind moving forward.
All right. So, okay, right now I'm in my last year of secondary high school. I would have finished by this May. However, the exam modulus that I sit has postponed them to November because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to have to wait a couple more months to finish that. but it's no big deal. I can wait. And then after that, my plans are that I hope I can get into Newcastle University for medicine.
Just I don't know whether Bill's bowels are moving over there, but something happened in the background. We just missed that final bit about what you wanted to study.
I would like to study medicine.
Right.
In university.
Excellent. That's huge. That we've got someone that's geez, I could do with a doctor right now, Bill. I've got a few complaints I need to check in on, but that's a story for another day. But that's
Gonna have to study for 6 years first to have a chance.
6 years, yeah. Get used to working part-time and managing that side of your life, but hopefully you can make a bit of coin off footy as well. That's also another story for another day. I'll hand pass it back over to you, Bill, but really impressed with what we've been able to get out of you so far. It's terrific.
Right, I want to shift on to the important things, the footy. Might jump on to the comments for a second first though. Root's watching, and he's actually said once you're done with the study, you can come and run the pharmacy. Give him a break. And he actually segues into my next question a little bit. He said he hasn't seen you on the footy field for a while, and the Blues need you. And he's loving the mullet. So that actually, in the show notes here, we've firstly wanted to mention that you've actually had the honour of captaining a team in the Tigers domestic league. Our show notes say that was the Reds. Now, was it the Reds or the Blues?
So I think that in 2019, I was captain of the Blues. But then in 2020, I was co-captain of the Reds.
Okay. How was that for you as an honour to be like a leader within the club?
I mean, to be honest, I had no idea what I was stepping into. Really, when I was going into that, I was more looking at the Thailand Tigers, leader roles, and just kind of learning from them, and learning, the things that they say for the game, during quarter time, halftime, and just really learning and how to take on the role of a leader. And I'm very happy that the Thailand Tigers offered me that role.
And can you tell us a little bit? I mean, we, living in Vietnam, the Tigers are one of our biggest rivals. So at the national level, we're quite familiar with the team. But the domestic league, tell us about it, and especially changing between the teams. Is that a common thing from season to season, or how's the rivalry between the teams? Does it build up across the season? Does it carry into the next season? And how are the games?
Okay, yeah. So every year, when the year starts, 2 captains are selected, and we have a draft night.
Okay, it resets every year.
Yeah, resets every year, and it starts off in good spirits, and then during game time, during game times, it can get quite pretty competitive. Sometimes we forget we're playing for the same team.
Yeah.
But it's all fun and games, and after the domestic games, everyone's fine. Everyone's back to being mates. Yeah.
Now, speaking of honours, you were also named All Asian at the Champs in 2019. How was that, especially being your mum being Thai, playing Australian football for the country, and then being named as a representative at the highest level of that country? How was the feeling on that day?
All right, I definitely felt very honored that day. I was very surprised. Hey,
yeah,
I've never thought my name would have popped up. It's just that feeling of going up to accept the All-Star. Probably one of the best feelings ever. Yeah.
And so how many champs have you actually been to, and how have you found it year to year as you've kind of gotten a bit older?
So I've only been to 2 Asian champs.
Yep.
Just because, the Asian champs they're much more competitive than I'd say the Indochina.
Yep.
So I was really too young to play. And my first Asian Champs game was when I was 18. And I just remember stepping on the grounds in Malaysia and seeing it for the first time and comparing it to, say, in Indochina. It's just a massive tournament. There's like 30 plus teams, enough for 3-4 divisions. And I remember like a feeling of just being overwhelmed by how big it was. I had no idea it was this big. And I felt very lucky to be able to play.
That's the year that Thailand played the final against Papua New Guinea, correct?
Yes.
How did you find that experience as a boy? It's got to be said, 18 years old, playing that man as a man boy, but playing against those. I mean, that's as hard a bodied squad as you'll ever find in non-professional football. How did you find that experience actually? Because that shocked us all. We played them in the semi, and
gosh, Papua New Guinea, they're just on a whole nother level. The whole team works well together. The whole team's so athletic.
Yep.
They could just run hard. They ran hard, and they could keep running on. And it was amazing to watch. And that, they actually ended up smashing us. But that defeat kind of, it made me want to play better. It made me want to do better at the game. Yeah.
I think one thing that I had an armchair ride that day because I umpired that grand final, and it was a wet encounter. And believe it or not, I think Papua New Guinea were playing with a dry ball, and you guys were playing with a cake of soap. That's what it looked like. They were just Harlem Globetrotters, absolutely sensational. I just want to press back a bit. So you spoke about your first Indochina Cup, and for those people that have never been to an Indochina Cup, one of my favourite tournaments in Asia, played between Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and have I got through them all? Always seem like I forget one. I think I've got them all there. Yeah, Vietnam, Thailand, Laos,
Myanmar.
So you spent Myanmar. The tournament that Tyler went to, Bill, is that the last tournament in Myanmar?
Yeah, as far as I know, probably the almost the first and last.
Yeah. There hasn't been much footy played in Myanmar itself over the years, and that may have been the actual last game or tournament.
Yep, it's a sensational field. Not a piece of grass out of place. And that year was one of the evenest tournaments you could ever imagine. I think it was less than a kick between us, Thailand, and Cambodia. Cambodia got the win in the last game against Thailand. Incredible tournament.
Yeah. So Tyler, have you played at all of the Indochina Cups since 2013?
No, not all of them. So after 2013, I kind of took a break from footy. I was focusing on basketball, actually. And then I must have come back playing 2015. Yeah.
Just, Bill, can you chuck the mute on? There's a little bit of everyday noise from Vietnam in the background. Just go back. So you said you came back, was it 2017 or 18?
Yeah, I think around then is when I came back to playing footy.
Yeah. Dad also tells me you're a pretty talented rugby player. Is that something that you may look into? Newcastle, Rugby City? Is that something you're also looking at as well?
Yeah. So actually, I'm quite new to rugby. I've only been playing a couple months, but I enjoy it a lot. And I'm hoping that maybe while I'm in university, they've got a rugby team, and hopefully I can play for them.
Yeah, well, anyone that's seen the photos on our Facebook page would have seen that you love the physical side of it. And I've seen you firsthand with the AFL Asia Lions, which we'll get to shortly. Just an absolute brute on the field and loves the tackling side and the physicality of it. So we'll go there now. I was president of AFL Asia, and I'm basically managing the whole AFL Asia Lions team, organising the coach, organising all the itinerary, hotel rooms, all the kit can caboodle, and Tyler York came up, and we're obviously really keen to get you on board. But then we saw brought his whole entourage. Bill brought the father and the three brothers. The three brothers are there together. And, mate, just before we touch on your personal experiences, I just really want to thank you and your brothers for what you gave to footy in Asia that weekend. Your brothers, they joined in as umpires and water boys, and I think they may even played as well. But they were just sensational, maturity beyond your years, helping out their clubhouse resident Yoshi when he had a bit of a scare. Just really thankful for their contributions to that weekend. But let's get to you more importantly. 17, I believe, at the time, playing on an AFL arena after the Port Adelaide and St Kilda game. Give us let us know how you felt about that whole weekend. Like, you played in the Shanghai Cup on the Saturday. Your team obviously got a lot of energy and cohesion out of the victory in the Shanghai Cup and the Masters division, but that whole weekend and the experiences playing on the Sunday and the curtain closer, can you give us an insight into how that'll panned out for you?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thanks for inviting us to go. It was great. The whole family had a lot of fun. Yeah, so the experience in China, we all loved it. We all thought it was great. Meeting all of the, I guess you would say, Asian representatives of AFL footy and playing with them as a team. It was great fun. They're all a good bunch of guys. And first playing in the Shanghai Cup, that was really fun, getting coached by Rick Olorenshaw, learning from him. It was a great experience. And then the curtain closer to the St Kilda Port Adelaide game was also just another big experience. It's the first time that I've ever played on a stadium field. I feel very lucky to have that experience. Thank you.
No dramas. We just found it as brilliant to have you guys aboard. What was it like playing with someone like, you got Winner, who's probably old enough to be your father. I think he's about 40 then. And then you've got, you've got the big brute from Philippines as well, Evan Spargo. What was it like playing with these guys?
It was great playing with them. They Winner and Spargo, I looked at them as leaders of the AFL Lions. And, they were really nice, really kind people, and got along well. If you ever made a mistake on the footy field, they weren't yelling at you. They weren't putting you down for making a mistake. They were cheering you up, saying, come on, get next time. And then, it just made the whole team come together, I think.
Yeah, it was an awesome feeling. It was the only time that we actually got to beat China in the 3 years that tournament or that game was actually played in. So a highly successful week, and maybe never get to see that again in Asia. It's interesting with all the travel restrictions with COVID that these sort of plans may never get put back on the agenda. Before we go to the next one that we wanted to speak about, what's it like being a captain or a co-captain of a domestic footy team, and you've got some pretty old dudes in the Thailand Tigers like Yoda? How do you go around, being a man boy, 17, 18, 19 years old, and you're the captain of guys that are old enough to be your grandfather? How did that all work for you?
The thing is that whenever I would, say what the game plan was or what everyone should be doing, I felt so out of place saying it. I was the youngest, probably least experienced guy there, telling these guys that have been playing for over 30 years, telling them what to do. And it's just like...
Did they listen?
Yeah, they listened, yeah. Yeah, it just felt really weird for me. But, it was a good learning experience.
Look, you got maturity beyond your years, and let's face it, I saw some really great photos of you last year. You and your old man were running the Auskick based out of Thailand and Bangkok there. For those that don't know, this is just an astonishment to anyone that would been involved with footy over their life. The Thailand Tigers, Auskick and Junior Football Club, their end of year best and fairest is actually named after Tyler, which speaks volumes of what you've given to your club and how you're well regarded and respected within the Thailand Tigers family. That's a huge honour, mate. Not many people get awards named in their honour, particularly someone of your age and your pedigree. So congratulations. But how did you feel when they announced that award?
I felt very, I don't know how to say, honored. Yeah, I felt very honored. And actually, it's a funny story because I've actually never won that award when I was in Auskick. I've never won it. I've always been mentioned or runners up, but I've never won it. And annoyingly enough, the first person to win that award was my little brother, and that he just wouldn't shut up about it. Yeah, he kept reminding me a couple days after the awards night.
So what did he win? A medal or a trophy, or what was it?
Yeah, just like a trophy. It had like a.
So he's got a trophy with your name on it.
Yep.
That you've never had. that would be great.
Never know, Bill. They might get the Billy Crane Golden Fist Award for the best defender of the Vietnam Swans moving forward.
The Swans don't seem to notice the backline, so I don't know if we'll ever have it. Danny Frawley was right. The Golden Fist is often overlooked.
Yes, it is.
So Matty mentioned, Tyler, that you were helping your old man last year with the Auskick in Bangkok. How did it go? And how is Auskick going in Thailand? You mentioned that numbers have been a bit of a struggle in recent years. And what are the plans for 2021? Is there much happening to keep pushing it along?
Yeah. So when I was doing Auskick, Dad was he was also a coach, and so when the head coach had moved away, the responsibilities kind of fell on Dad, and Dad needed help, so Dad just asked, "Look, are we doing this thing or not?" And so we decided, yeah, we'll do it. We'll dedicate Saturday times to it, and so it was actually really good the first few weeks after the New Year. The first Auskick session was on Australia Day, and it was a really big event. We had 30 plus kids there, which was the first time in forever. We had enough kids that each age group could have their own game, and so that was good for the first week. And the second week also turned out really well. Again, 30, 40 plus kids turning up. But then the third week was when COVID restrictions started happening, and so we couldn't play footy, and which was a bit of a downer, and it kind of made things slow to start up once COVID regulations had lifted. So when COVID regulations lifted, we only had maybe 15 kids.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to get it started up. But yeah, so what were you gonna say?
No, I'm just saying that's a pretty standard 2020 experience, isn't it? You just anything that had momentum was just so hard to keep because of the uncertainty. When are we coming back? Some people judge, should we even go back? Maybe we'll be careful, stay away from groups. So interestingly, in the comments, we've got the Prez. I assume he's still the Prez, John Welby. And he's asking, are you missing the Auskick drills? And that leads to a question I wanted to ask. Have you guys got plans to push it back up in 2021, try and recapture that momentum, or where's it at the moment?
I'm not sure. I'm not so sure really.
Okay.
I haven't discussed it much with Dad, just because now on Saturdays we're also pretty busy now. I don't think that we'll be doing Auskick anymore. Well, not soon anyway. But been discussing it with Dad, and we'll see how it turns out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully, someone else can step in as well.
Yeah, I do miss Auskick a bit actually. Just before the season had finished, I coached the under 11s, and we had about 8 kids in there. And I remember when it all had finished, all the parents came up to me and they were thanking me and saying how much that their sons, loved playing. They spent their times during the weekdays after school at home, bouncing the footy ball, practicing handballing, saying, "Dad, please play with me." And hearing that, it was just so heartwarming, and I loved it.
Yeah, Johnny Welby's exactly right there, Bill. They did take it to another level, and you could see, just with the photos that were coming out on Facebook, they're definitely gone to another level. And one thing I was really impressed with, I looked through the photos from the junior presentation or the whole club presentation, and seeing you presenting awards, you had a bigger smile than the kids themselves. So it just shows how much you enjoyed the role yourself. So, and again, maturity well beyond your years. The Thailand Tigers and Vietnam, and there's a number of other clubs which we won't talk about tonight, are some of the key leaders in local development. One thing that's really been impressive that's come out of the Thailand Tigers, and I guess there's some bigger announcements coming up as well, is the scholarship program that the club's put in place for local players. Will you be doing any mentoring work yourself? And how important do you think local development is in Asian football, given that you're coming from a local background yourself?
Yeah, I think that the local development of footy is important. I think that it has definitely helped out, a lot of the Thai boys. These Thai boys, they don't really have much, and I think footy has given a lot to them, and the club has, and I think they're very appreciative of it. And I'm not so sure what I'll be doing, but hopefully that once time frees up, I can get back to it.
Brilliant. Oh, that's terrific. Before we get to the tribal sport friendly fire round, Bill, is there any other comments, questions, any love from the pavilion?
There's a few, but I'll tie them in. Okay, we'll jump straight into it. J-Mac has it was more of a closer though, just saying that everybody's already starting to realise that you're going to be heading off for future study, and what a loss you'll be to the club. And there's a couple of those. Also, big Niall saying don't let the youth fool you. Absolute beast on the field and a natural leader. There's also one question we had still here, Matty, just before the friendly fire round. Regarding local development, how do you see it? How important do you see it to clubs in our region of Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, and how do you see it developing in the future?
I think it's definitely important. It's like that sense of helping out a community that does need help.
Yep.
I think in Thailand it's developing really fast. The Thailand Tigers have gotten on board with it, and everyone's taking part in it. And I think that in the future, a lot of that is going to be everywhere around in Asia, people helping out in small communities and making everyone's lives better around them.
Yeah, terrific. All right, let's get to the tribal sport friendly fire round. I'm actually on fire myself. My mother-in-law's put a electric heat mat, which is a pretty commonplace in Japan. I'm absolutely boiling, so I'm on fire myself, Bill. Let's get to the tribal sport friendly fire round. Big thanks to David Lake and the crew at Trouble Sport for all your apparel needs this season. Please get in touch with Lakey and the crew, and they'll put you in the right place and get your team set up with new kits and whatnot. Lakey's probably yet to, I don't think he's broken his egg there at the Gold Coast Suns AFLW team. I think they're still winless with a couple of rounds remaining. So best of luck, Lakey, for the rest of the season. And again, please get in touch with Lakey and the crew at Tribal Sport for all your club's apparel needs moving forward into 2021. First one, let's get to your nickname. Look, we hear this man boy. How did it all come about, and who gave it to you? And do you like
so one time with the Auskick team, we went down to play a game against the Pattaya Pirates. We had another Auskick team, and I was 13 at the time, and lucky for me, I was an early bloomer. So I was 170 centimeters taller, while everyone else was 150, 160, and so when I was playing, one of the Auskick parents in the younger age group went, "Who's that?" And then someone replied, "Oh, that's Tyler," and it's like, "That's a man boy." Oh, boy, man boy. And everyone laughed, and then it just kind of stuck on. And now my nickname is Man Boy.
Do you get the old flex the muscles up when you get the Man Boy call up?
Yeah, sometimes.
I would. Brilliant. What's your preferred positions on the field?
I really like on ball.
Yeah.
On ball mostly, yeah. Because I just like the role of it, and switching from Auskick to Thailand Tigers, I'd gone from one of the tallest players to the smallest player, and so luckily for me, I was good around scrummages and scrappy ball play. So that's what I just did. I just followed the ball around, and whenever it was on the ground or in people contesting for it, I was there just waiting for it. And, I enjoyed that.
Competitive beast, Bill.
Yeah. So in who are the best player or players that you've played with and against?
Best players that I have played with, I'd definitely say Niall from the Thailand Tigers, David McCormack from the Thailand Tigers, J-Mac, and the best, and Paddy, and the best player that I've played against is probably who's that forward for the Vietnam Swans?
Oh, the Grouch, Oscar.
Oscar, yeah, probably Oscar.
Yeah, that's tough. And who are your best teammates? So not so much the footy skills, but the best blokes to have next to you on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, okay. Best blokes definitely Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Niall as well, dude. These guys are always very positive. Great to have on a team. Very uplifting.
All right, just while the mother-in-law's getting the daily rice on, or the night rice, I have it all every meal here. So you might get a bit of background noise, so apologies in advance. All right, let's cut to the chase. Who's the most annoying Thailand Tiger? Is it Yoda? And if not, who is it?
I would probably say J-Mac. Just because
watching live too.
Just because in the domestics game he gets so competitive, and it's a thing that I both respect and sometimes does get annoying, but at the end of the day, he's a good bloke. I enjoy playing footy with him.
All right, well, let's go. Yeah, the most difficult opponent, you mentioned Oscar Silk, big Oscar the Grouse from Vietnam. Have you played directly on it? If not, who's your most difficult opponents that you've played on?
I played directly on him and in Kanchanaburi. I played back and they put me on him just because they thought that I would be able to keep up with him. But no, he just has great positioning and great reach for the ball. He's got sticky hands. Yeah.
Yeah, I rate him as probably one of the top 5 best footballers in Asia. It's a pity he hasn't come up against Division 1 company very often, but he's above the rest of them in Div 2.
Yep. So Tyler, you've had plenty of exposure to some incredible foods. What's your favourite meal?
Favorite meal? I probably, if there was one thing I could order off the menu, one thing for the rest of my life, it'd probably be basil chicken and rice.
Yep.
That's the best.
Can't be beaten. And what's your favourite holiday destination?
Favorite holiday destination? Oof. Maybe Maldives. Maldives, yeah. Beach is really nice.
Your old man's on a fair bit of cackle if you're going to the Maldives, mate.
Yeah.
All right, this is a tough one. And some people get creative with it. Just as creative as my Japanese mother-in-law on the chopping board there. But got to invite 4 people to the Thai basil chicken and rice meal. Who are you going to invite?
Oh gosh. Who am I going to invite? Michael Jordan, Buddy Franklin, and Chris Hemsworth.
You got one more?
One more? Oh, Bill Burr.
Bill who?
Bill Burr, the comedian.
I've been living under a rock too often, Bill.
Okay.
Don't know that one. All right, best footy trip.
Best footy trip. I'd definitely say the Indochina Myanmar.
Yeah,
for sure.
Underrated, that one.
What would be 3 things that people don't know about you?
3 things people don't know about me. I love music. I can play guitar, bass.
Wow.
I'm not that good of a singer, but I do love the karaoke. Another thing is that maybe some people don't know is that I do quite well in school. I've got top A grades for maths and sciences. And another thing is that probably I'm not so sure.
Two's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
That's all right. They're 2 rippers. Now, your what would I say? Your image is frozen, but your audio is still perfect. So we'll close out the friendly fire round and see if it comes back. This is a question that we had last year, and it just might be about to go out of date. But what AFL rules, if any, would you change, and how could we increase the scoring? What would you like to see changed about the game of AFL?
Probably allow throwing. Allow
Really?
throw the.
So it's getting ready for your rugby career. Fair enough. That question actually may well be superseded in the next few weeks if round one sort of form continues.
My suggestion is to get the out of bounds rule between the arcs, last touch.
Just do it the whole field then. Why would you do it on the arcs?
No, in between the arcs.
Yeah.
Not the arcs. You'd still have your boundaries throw-ins in the arcs, but yeah, basically most of these last kick out of bounds they're getting judged pretty harshly nowadays anyway. So, anyway, before we do, we've got the frozen screen that we requested a little bit earlier, which is the side-on mullet.
That's right.
We've had a good gander. It's looking pretty good, pretty fresh. Are you still with us? Are you still with us?
Yep, still here.
Yeah, the audio's perfect.
All right. Well, sorry, the rice has been cleaned at the moment.
It's not too bad, Matty.
That's good. Now, the last thing we're going to get you to do, you're back, which is good, because we're finishing all our podcasts on this note now. You have to give us your best how good's footy in Asia. So I did one, as you might not have seen this one, so I did, how good's footy in Asia? So you're going to give us one of those, because we're going to put a culmination of all the podcast interviewees at the end of the year, and your mullet's going to be on it. So give us your best how good's footy in Asia, please.
All right, here it goes. How good's footy in Asia?
Oh, yeah, that's next level, Bill.
Yeah, that's a ripper. Well
on that note, you've got the 3 Brownlow votes tonight, Tyler. You've been an absolute magnificent guest on the podcast. Episode 20. Really love chatting with you. I'm sure it's going to get a lot of traction on our Facebook page.
Am I back?
We'll get you to do.
Yep.
When you, because you're not a Facebook guy, you're an Instagram. You're the young stingers platform. So we'll get a bit of a best of Tyler York together, and if you can share it on your Instagram page, we'd love it. How many followers do you have, by the way? You with us? How many Instagram followers have you got? I reckon we've lost him, Bill.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get his Instagram up.
All right, we'll let that.
One. Yeah.
Still with us?
Yep, back now.
Right. How many Instagram followers have you got? We may have lost him. Oh, it's been a brilliant podcast, Bill.
Yeah.
Podcast that's finished with the guest leaving the studio before we finished up. But geez, he's a talent, isn't he?
He's an absolute talent, incredible stuff. And like a lot of the Tigers, he's just trying to come back. But like a lot of the Tigers guys have been saying, bit of a shame to see someone come of age and do such incredible work up to this stage and then head back to Australia. But hopefully he'll be back in the region as a doctor.
Yeah. Anything else from the pavilion before we wrap things up and try and get him back?
No, I've run through most of that already. I would have liked to find out what his actual Instagram handle is because there's plenty of Tyler Yorks on here. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, he might have forgotten his username and password and created a few accounts. No, they'd be probably.
No, they're different people.
Yeah, right. All right, well, we'll wrap things up, ladies and gentlemen. We can confirm our last podcast was meant to be before Tyler was actually meant to be Connor Downey from the Hawthorn Football Club. Connor Downey, interestingly enough, Bill.
That's right. That was the debut, yeah.
He actually gets paid. He gets the cackle for playing, but didn't get on the field. So he'll go down in history. I think I need to go through the AFL's round and see if there was any other players that were in a similar boat that made their debuts but didn't go on the field. And this medical subs, they're going to use it to their advantage. Don't worry about that.
Yep.
So, yeah, Connor Downey will join us next Tuesday, Connor Downey. So look forward to catching up with him. Chinese heritage, so it'll be interesting to see what his background is. Tyler, you back with us, mate? Nah, he's gone. So how good is he? Yeah, he's gone. All right, Tyler York, 3 votes. Bill Crane, 2 votes, and Gale 1 vote. Thanks everyone for joining us. Look forward to catching up with you next week on How Good's Footy in Asia, AFL Asia's official podcast. Bye for now.